everybody, welcome back. It's of course Sport Federation TV, where, as you know, every week we take a look at what's happening with sport in the Western Cape. And of course, finally the weather is warming up a little bit. Summer is just around the corner and we're glad to see that our sports are operating. Of course, we're going to take a look back at some of the folks that joined us, our federations that joined us over the last few weeks. But in studio with me now and to talk to me, let's say he's back in studio, regular favorite of Sport Federation TV, Chris Naude, Western Cape Climbing. Chris, nice to have you back.
Hi JP, thanks very much for having me again. Yeah, I love to talk. I love to talk climbing. So here we go.
So okay, so let me just fix this up, because people are probably wondering, why did I introduce you as Western Cape Climbing? Well, of course you are in the Western Cape. All your routes are Western Cape, but you've also just taken over the role as president of Climbing South Africa. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, I think. I'm used to the people that I know and are friends with from my own local community.
Yeah.
And now suddenly it changes. Not that they're not my friends, but I don't see them as regularly. And yeah, it's a different experience.
Well, if we just look at that then from a South Africa perspective, I mean, you must be very proud over the last few years of the accomplishments in the Western Cape. Western Cape climbing athletes have been doing well. You've got more participants participating. Your high performance has been going really well. So you've got a good feeding system out of the Western Cape.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are a couple of things about that. I've been involved with it for 10 years now.
Yeah.
And when we started, it was a very different experience. It was fun. It was great fun. But it wasn't as structured and certainly not as big, and we didn't have as many competitions and as many people traveling overseas for international competitions. And this year has been, let's say, expected to continue on that trajectory, but it's been a great point at which to sort of try and hand over to some new folk to run the Western Cape climbing.
You got a couple of athletes from the Western Cape at the moment competing overseas?
Absolutely, yeah. We've got eight of the team of our youth team is competing at the Youth World Championships in Seoul, South Korea.
Yeah.
And that's always an exciting thing. You know, it may sound a little Eurocentric to say that South Korea is an adventure, but it is something. Realistically, it's something a little outside of most of our experiences. We've all been to England and Germany and places like that, but this is exciting for them.
Is it players and athletes and coaches? Have you got
So we've got a team. South Africa has sent over a team of 20 climbers, and we've got 4 boys and 4 girls going, and the head coach is Tiffany Wells, is also from Western Cape. So we sort of taking a lead as much as we can, and that's
so Tiffany
great.
has been doing exactly that. Tiffany really has been leading the way from a high performance point of view.
Absolutely.
I know that you guys have done a couple of online workshops with athletes to expose them to more high performance kind of activities. Clearly these systems have been working.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think part of the reason why it's been working is because we've had such enthusiasm from the rest of the team.
Yeah.
It's not just the committee or just me or anybody else. We've got really great people involved in that. So we've got Chris and Tiffany have really taken that one by the horns.
Yeah.
But they've also done it in a very inclusive way, and they've involved lots of our better coaches in this high performance training, plus reaching out to doctors and physiotherapists and nutritionists and I'll forget all the names, but all of those ists are there to help us take this thing further.
Psychologists and therapists and so on.
There we go.
So you sent me a few pictures just before the show. You sent me a few pictures, some amazing photographs, which of course we can see in the background here, of what looks like I was going to say it doesn't look like South Africa, but of course a rock is a rock. Maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. But you've got some folks that are traveling and doing some exploring.
Yeah, well, they've come back actually. They went for 2 weeks. A couple of our top Cape Town climbers decided to do a little bit of adventuring, and went off to Chimanimani in Zimbabwe. It's not as organized as Rocklands and so on, so there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You walk off into the mountains with everything you need for the period.
Yeah.
And yeah, they went exploring, opening up some new routes and new boulders in a fairly undiscovered environment. It has been climbed before. There have been people there, and but they sort of just opening it up a bit and showing South Africans that this is a place we can also climb.
Right.
And it was they came back with really good reports of it, saying that it's actually an amazing climbing area.
Yeah, yeah.
So they look for quality of rock and the size of the rocks and you know what sort of climbing.
So when you say that they're opening it up, opening routes and that, what does that mean? Does that mean building relationships, or do you mean physically they're figuring out the climbing routes and so on?
So yeah, that's the thing about climbing, is when you look at a rock is a rock, but it doesn't necessarily make a good climb.
Right.
So it might be too easy. A lot of our rock around Cape Town is fine, but it's pretty easy to climb, and you can just walk up it. So you're looking for rocks with the right sort of features that it's difficult to get to the top, but possible. And then you plan a route up, and sometimes it involves a little bit of cleaning up as well.
Yeah.
So they'll go there with brushes and what have you to clean the lichen out of a crack or whatever, so that they can get their fingers in and use that.
So do you have? I mean, do your guys, when they're not climbing here locally, is it something that the climbers do from a traveling perspective? I mean, when you go as a tourist, you're going overseas to maybe go and visit somewhere. Do they go look for the local climbing spot?
So yeah, absolutely. So that is one of the things that maybe is specific to climbing, as opposed to maybe some other sports where you're always going to play rugby on a rugby field. Climbing, the competitions are all held on artificial walls in a climbing gym, or especially purpose-built competition wall outdoors. But it's wooden walls with shaped grips made out of polyurethane or whatever. But a lot of climbing and the enjoyment they get out of it is from going out into the mountains and go and finding rocks and crags to climb. And
do they have relationships with folks overseas? I mean, before they, for example, go overseas, make a phone call and say, we're coming, can we get together, go climb together?
That is one of the most amazing things about the competitions, actually, and I had a little talk with the chaps going to our youth worlds. They're youngsters still.
Yeah.
I said, go there and make friends. You will do that anyway, but you will make the best friends that you've made in your life, and they will stay with you forever.
Yeah.
And although you don't see a lot of them, it is so nice to get a message to say, are you going to be in Europe now? We're going to Fontainebleau to climb, you know, and would you like to join us, you know? Or someone in America might be saying, we're going to Boulder, Colorado, or wherever, you know. And it really is such a nice worldwide community. It's relatively small compared to some other sports, but it's a great worldwide community of friends in other countries that and they come to Cape Town particularly. So Rocklands, we've just finished the Rockland. We're finishing the Rockland season now. You mentioned the weather's getting nice and sport is picking up. For the climbers, well, sadly winter's ending, and winter is the preferred season for climbing, and they like climbing.
Wow,
so we have people coming from all over the world to Rocklands. We have thousands of them actually coming here to Cederberg to come and climb on our lovely rocks that we've got here.
Chris, we're going to leave it at that. We know that you guys got a couple events coming up, of course, South African Championships in the next few months. Hopefully the Western Cape athletes keep shining, and I'll say thanks to you for popping in. We're always thrilled to have you here.
Yeah, no, thank you, JP. It's been great, and yeah, anybody who wants to try climbing, get hold of Western Cape Climbing. The easy one, westerncapeclimbing.co.za, and you can get in touch with them, and we'll show you how to get started.
I love it. There we go, folks. Get yourself involved. Go and check out westerncapeclimbing.co.za. You can, of course, follow them on Instagram as well. A lot of information, very useful. A lot of information about where to join, what competitions are coming up, etc. So, yeah, Western Cape Climbing, again, flying the flag for Western Cape. We'll take a break. When we come back, you'll see, of course, some of our guests from last week. Back in a sec. Don't go away.